Yeah, welcome to this new video where we have decided to go work on the front. But by the time this video airs, the rear is done, which we are super glad that we did it. Probably our whole engine bay has some rusty areas as well. The two biggest issues are here on top of the A-pillar. When we bought the car, this was the first point we noticed. This is going to be hard. So that's why we did all the other stuff first, but now we feel like we have enough practice with welding so that we can address it and fix it for good. So another episode of grinding, welding.
I'll make a 1-to-1 copy of this.
Without the holes, please.
Without the holes, yes. There's been a, funny is not the right word, interesting development.
Yes.
And I was cutting through here and I saw 4 or 5 layers of metal stacked with rust in between, and I got a deja vu. Been here before. And this is supposed to be the strong structural part of the car. But he thought, let's slam a new piece of metal on it.
So much fun! New adventure! New now on the Bent Axles channel.
Maybe there's someone who wants to sponsor us with antidepressants.
We noticed that during this cut here, it kind of started to open up, which is unwanted. So to make sure it's really stable enough, we put in 3 temporary struts. One's here, this is the other one, and number 2 you can see here. So it took us half an hour, but I think it's much safer.
Nee, geen half uur. Much quicker. For 25 minutes.
25 minutes. Take it or leave it. Okay, let's cut. Smart us, thinking ahead, we saved this little piece, which arguably is the most complicated one in terms of bends, and we decided to just put it back in. And we want to do that now so that we can remove the temporary struts we put in earlier. So we bought this car 1 year ago. When you buy a Volvo Amazon, especially from this age, or buy any car, which is also you are looking for rust spots. So we looked on the internet, and everywhere where we looked, they say look at the engine bay, like the inner panels. That's the first thing you would find rust on the car. So that's what we did when we visited the car. We looked here, couldn't find anything, so we immediately bought it. We were like, we don't see any rust, so we bought it. Turns out there's a whole panel missing here, but we got it at least. Yeah, it's time to put these in place. So
first, these edges need a little bit of care. There was still a lot of undercoating here and some old welds. So our first step was to clean this up. That's up now.
Then Annie will be complete.
Annie, are you okay?
Annie,
are you okay? Annie, you've been hit by, you've been struck by rust spring.
Okay. Anger issues?
Turns out there is a dent there that isn't supposed to be there, so...
Not anymore.
As one of the steps to prepare for mounting this side panel again is to drill some holes in here so we can weld it from the inside and make sure that we got a good strong connection between these two panels. So I'm drilling the last hole now.
Are you a professional driller?
This actually was my best hole so far. So these replacement panels are actually very similar to the original panels, which mean that they have this slot and this hole, and there's no way to attach a bolt in this like this. So what Volvo came up with are these clips. Normally they are called speed nuts, I believe. Slide them in like this, and then you have a thread to hold these screws in.
So we're gonna attach this to the fenders. There's a little room here to adjust it later. But we're gonna attach it to the fenders and then put the fenders on the car to align it. do I sound? Is it good? We made a small investment. We spent 10 euros on a microphone. So I think you can hear us better now. So for placing these panels, it is really important to align everything very well. That's why we put on the front fenders and the hood and everything, such that we can place this, because it will in the end determine how actually like the whole front of the car will look. And for that, to see if we have aligned it well, we have a couple of cues. So the first one is over here. There's this dent in the bodywork and needs to line up with the bottom of the door. So this is how we see if it's in the correct height. Then a second way of checking the height is to see if this flange here is the same height as this flange. We looked at other Volvo Amazons and they have this at the same height, so we replicate that here. So that's good. And then we can also look at the door. So we put in the door on this side. You have this chrome strip. It needs to be at the same height to see that the front panel is placed correctly. So that's why I put that one in. So we can also take cues from the panel itself and the inside of the engine bay. Here we have like a deformed area which is used for stiffening this panel, but the same bump is also in the panel, so we have to see that this is aligned with this, which it is, so that's also good. So to see if we've placed it far enough forward or aft, we are looking at this nose panel and seeing if the bolt here aligns with this piece which is on the car itself. And also there's one up here. There's a hole which is both on the nose panel, on the car itself, but also on this panel. I can see through this hole, which means that it's all very well aligned. So that's also looking good. And another guide here for this front nose panel section are these holes. So this is where these are mounted and they look good. And the last cue we take is from the hood itself. So let's close it up, and here we're looking at the seams between the front fenders and the hood and to see if they're consistent. Everything is still adjustable, so it needs to be in the right ballpark, but it's looking pretty good, so I think we're good to go. Let's go weld it in. Welded in the first one, really happy how that turned out, and now we're going to weld in the second one. One thing we also did it on the other side, is there was a gap here and we had to like push it to close the gap, but what we now did is we drilled a hole and then we put a bolt in such that it holds it while you're welding and then it's steady. So yeah, we're good to go. Let's weld.
Last thing you've seen is that we put in these side panels, line them up and put in some tack welds. We actually make sure that these panels are now fully welded in. While adding more welds, you could actually really see the car stiffening up. So now these arches are extremely stiff, as well as these panels which, for example, mount the radiator. And there were still some holes left in these areas, which we also made some panels for. We welded those in as well. And the final challenge of today, which we did after dinner, was to actually fill in the last parts of the front of the car, which are these double curved metal pieces. And this has been a challenge in our minds since the beginning. But it actually turned out we did it in less than 2 hours to actually make it all happen. We are really happy with the results, and I think we will both sleep very well tonight.